we can do about it. If we can contact the owners of that property and they just need help doing it, I'm sure we could figure out a way to do something to help them. But if they just want to live that way or they want their buildings to look that way, I don't know what we're going to do other than make a covenant that they can't let them get in disrepair or be a hazard to the citizens. But the city would be more than welcome to hear these suggestions, because we have talked about trying to get beautification back on for quite a while now. But a lot of people fight it. More people fight it than help it. We need the helpers.
Well, I don't same thing. I don't know really what you can do to change everybody. A lot of people live in a small town so they can live like that, I guess. I don't know. I'm not necessarily one of them. I like a clean yard, and I like my goat heads gone, and I think that is definitely something maybe we ought to be looking at. So maybe having city spraying goat heads along the streets again. Stuff like that, you know, making things better.
I think it's very important, and as I look out across here, I see a lot of people that have come tonight. And I was talking with my wife earlier, and we were talking about, I was nervous that there were only going to be 5 or 6 people show up, and I'm really glad this many people showed up and showed support and are willing to get involved. And I think that's the key for the citizens, is to come and to be involved in things. And I don't know what the correct step is as far as the city council getting citizens involved, but maybe it's more public awareness. I mean, I know Facebook and social media and stuff are big right now, and that's a way to get into everybody's hand. Everybody's looking at their phones, and maybe that's a way to address this and to get more people involved. But I think that is the key, is to get people involved.
This is not Debbie. This is Don Thomson.
If you always do what you always done, then you always get what you always got, and you always feel how you always feel. A lot of apathy in this town. Everybody, we're involved in church, we're involved in sports, but very little participation in city activities and getting on board with the city. The Fillmore Area Chamber of Commerce. Anybody know where that's going to be in about 2 months? It's going to be gone. Apathy. I applaud each and every one of you guys for showing up here tonight, okay? These problems that we have in the city are not just city council problems, they're community problems, and the community needs to get behind the city council and help them and direct them. You vote for these people, you put them in office, you hold them accountable. That's what you're supposed to do.
I heard your comments about the vicious dog problem. What about comments or ideas on deer and turkey problem?
Oh boy. I've kept a herd of deer alive for the last, I don't know, I don't have much garden anymore. All of the tomatoes are gone. All of my, pretty much the fruit trees are getting nipped up, and they do clean up my apples. I'll give them that. I have contacted Riley Peck, our local game warden, or not warden, he's a biologist. The state is very limited in what they can do with control. They have a certain period in the year that they can actually control the animals, as far as deer. I don't know about turkeys. They haven't made it to my house yet, and I'm sure they will before we're through. But deer are a nuisance. They really are. If you step back and if you kind of visualize Fillmore gone, this is some prime habitat for deer. We built our city here. They were here first. Whoa, ooh, that got us stirred up.
When we were growing up in Fillmore, the only deer we ever saw was if we were lucky enough on Christmas Eve to be out and see Santa
There was deer in the east part of town all through my life. We've had deer in the east end of town ever since I was here. So yes, we've had deer. You didn't live in the east end, no. That was fine.
No, you're not old enough.
Okay, I stand corrected. I'll go with, I've only been here 20 years. Turkeys are a new thing. I don't have turkeys in my neighborhood. I know when I first came here, there was some deer control, and it was pretty brutal. So yeah, they did clean out a lot of the deer in town, the resident herds. So as far as getting Riley to move on that, we're working on that. I have made contact with him. It's I feel like that was more of a personal call than maybe a city council call. But yes, we have had some issues with deer, and I understand that. Hopefully we can make some changes in that. Part of the problem we have is some yards that are just absolutely jungles and deer like that. So they have a place to hide. They have plenty to eat. There was a nice buck in my backyard last night, and unfortunately he wasn't up there where he could be controlled, but he was in my yard. So.
I agree, there's a problem.
I got the solution. I think we have the game warden fill up a truckload of turkeys. We have a turkey roast in the park, and we have everybody bring a side.
Landowner tags.
I'm going to have to defer on this one. I've got a problem with deer in my backyard. Matter of fact, I first moved here. Somebody told me, well, you can put up one of those little waving willy things to scare them away. I did. They ate the damn thing.
All right, there's time for one more question over here.
I've got a question in regards to emergency services. We're going through a really downward spiral with volunteers. Is there anything that the city is willing to do to step up for not just the ambulance team, but the fire department? CERT's not our answer for everyday calls. We need people that are willing to respond daily, and that's kind of my question for you.
Well, the fire department reports we've been getting is they're very positive, and we're having good response. I have to go with what the chief says. I don't really know much more than that. That's not something I would really like to. That's critical in my mind to have fire and ambulance and police protection here. You just have to have those. I was not aware there was a problem with the fire department. Go ahead.
Right now, we do have more members than we've ever had on the fire department, where we're still short of what we should have. We would like at least 28 members on that department. We're lucky if we have 17 right now. The ambulance team's an even bigger problem. We have several nights where we don't even have coverage here. And I don't know if a lot of the public knows that, but I want to go to bed at night knowing that somebody's going to come help me if there's something happen.
Yeah, that's scary to me. That is. I was not aware of the problem or the holes we have in the ambulance either. So that's good to know. Thank you.
Volunteerism is down. No doubt about that. Volunteers are hard to find. It's hard to come up with experienced people that want to put in the time for the training for that. And we're doing better now than we were a couple of years ago with the fire department, the sheriff's posse, and the ambulance crew. All were really, really hurting bad. What we do need is to get it out to the public if they want to volunteer to do these. But we're talking volunteers. We can't force people to do it. We can't go out and appoint somebody to do it. They're volunteers. We're having the same problem with CERTs, emergency management. We're down on block commanders because nobody wants to volunteer. It takes a little training. It takes a little time. A lot of the younger generation don't have that time. They're still working for a living and spending most of their time doing it. You know, we got to get to the older, not the older generation. Anyway, us older generations, like Dan Rowley there, he's a little older, but and he's he's trained already. You know, we got to get to the right people and get them involved in them areas. But it's like you say, volunteerism. You can't force that. I was lucky enough this year. I just received this last week to receive the President's Bronze Award. I got a letter from the White House saying that I received the Bronze Award from the President for volunteerism. I work with volunteers every day because of veterans, and Phil knows what we can do as volunteers. But we got him on honor flight and all that, but it takes volunteers to do all that. And I just don't think the younger generation's ready to transmit back over to spare time. Spare time's hard to come by. I hope we can find some sooner or later. And if we grow much, I would look forward to the time when we could pay these people something to make it more worth their while. But right now, it's volunteerism, and that's where we stand.